What's up, guys? I'm here with Kylie Winfrey of Kingdom Cast. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. This is
Yeah,
so
well,
fun.
I'm just glad you can make the time. I'm glad you can make the time.
Oh, happy to do so.
So,
Anytime I can talk Chiefs football with a fellow fan, it's like, I could just gab all day. So this is so great. So appreciate you having me on.
yeah, no problem. So, well, first, before we start, what was your experience having a chat with Cole, also known as How About Those Chiefs, and many other guys? Were you on a show with All Chiefed Up, maybe? Possibly with them? Was it All Chiefed Up? Yeah, I think I saw
Yep.
that one too. How was it talking to
Yeah.
all these huge, big Chiefs creators?
It's been great, really. Cole and I have known each other since, Cole started coming up in the old Chiefs Kingdom community. So we kind of started both on the rise a little bit together. And obviously, he's constantly putting out great content and he's just a really great guy. So whenever we had an opportunity to link up, it was kind of a no-brainer. And we just really hit it off right from the beginning. And I felt like we had a really great chemistry on that show. And we really just loved jiving and chatting it up. And it was such a great experience. He's such a cool guy. He knows his stuff. Like he knows so much about Chiefs football, and
Yeah.
he's got a really great setup. I've actually been to his studio, so he's to the nines. Like everything he does is really well done. And he's like, let me just tell you, Cole is a workhorse. Like he will make sure that not only is he putting out the best content, but that it's always in tip top shape, and he always is very well versed in everything. And he puts all of his heart in it too. So he's that's been a great experience. I was on All Chiefed Up a couple times for some draft shows with them. They're great guys. They're actually out of Louisville, I believe. So it's just always cool because I'm from Kansas City, born and raised, as is Cole. And when you meet people who don't live around the city or aren't from the area, it's just so cool to be like, how'd you become a fan? Like, and then to hear like and see that they're putting out content from all over the country, like yourself. It's just really cool. I feel like it unites us as Chiefs Kingdom, and like obviously X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it is a really great place to meet fellow Chiefs fans. So that's kind of how we met and hit it off. And they asked me to be on the show, and I had to say yes. They're super fun guys. The Kingdom Cast crew, obviously, I've been with them for, they were the first show I actually did. And so that was really fun. And they've been with me since the beginning with that. So I have nothing but love for them. They're like my brothers. It's family for me. So they're awesome. I've been on Arrowhead Addict a couple times, another really great group of guys. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but Matt Verderam, I think he did some shows with them. We've had him on Kingdom Cast before. Patrick Allen, really, really great guy. Sterling Holmes, like all of those guys are super awesome. And Kingdom Queens, I've done Kingdom Queens before. Lexi and Jody are absolutely amazing. I love what they're doing for women in the sport of football, and also with Chiefs fans, and now taking on all of this new surge of Swifties and everything that's coming with them. Like they're just really knocking it out of the park. I'm so proud of everything that they're building. They're absolutely killing it. So we all have love for each other in the sports and Chiefs community. So it's been really fun.
Well, I'll tell you what, I have had some good luck getting these great creators on the show. I've had Cole on, I've had Lexi on, I've had Kylie Winfrey on. And not only have I had these great podcasters, but I also got a chance to have a Chiefs player on a few months ago, and that was Nazi Johnson. That was a great show, and hoping to get him back on next season. Have you guys had any shows on, any players on your show?
We've had some past players on, not recently. So I've actually taken a little bit of a break lately. So I haven't been on with them lately. So not so don't have a ton of information on that. But we did Jeremy Macklin was on it with us one time. Gosh, I'm totally blanking right now, but we've Country on the show does a really great job about like getting in touch with these guys and getting them on, and they've got connections, and we have a really great time. I feel bad I'm blanking right now. I know the most recent guest that I've been on with was Jeremy Macklin, and that was absolutely incredible. Just from I don't know if you were old enough for Jeremy Macklin times. To remember him on the team, but it was really, really cool to interview him and kind of get his side of the story with him leaving the Chiefs and everything that went on with that. So it's been great. Yeah, I just really love it, and I know they're always working to get other guests on. So
Yeah, well, yeah, like I said, my plan is to get Nazi back on next season, but I also want to try and get some other Chiefs players on. So we'll see what we can do. I'm gonna let them focus on getting this three-peat, and then after we win the Super Bowl, we'll reach back out to them and try and get some more players on. But
how
what is
was
your
it?
what?
Can I ask you real quick? How was it having Nazi Johnson on? Was he just like so nice, and you guys had a really great
It,
conversation?
it was awesome. It was great to have him on. We talked about his injury, a little bit about his mom, and I also had his mom on the show too a couple months ago too. But we just talked about a lot of great things. He talked about how he feels Sky Moore is going to shock us all this season. Said he's about ready to go with his injury. That was a couple months ago. Obviously now he seems like he's ready to go. But we had a really great conversation. Really great.
That's so awesome. That's really cool that he came on your show. I know he's been on some other. I think he was on Kingdom Queens recently, and that's really cool. I love that he's giving love to the community like that. So anyway, go ahead. I just wanted to hear your input on that.
Yeah, yeah, it was great to get him on. But in your opinion, what is our most stacked room? Is it wide receivers, tight ends, corners? I know we have a lot of great players at these positions, but what do you think is our most stacked room?
Oh, that's such a good question. Uh, I'm probably my first gut instinct wants to go with tight end. And I think it's hard to overlook that because of Travis Kelsey, right, and everything he's done. But not only with Travis Kelsey, but Noah Gray came on so strong last year. And I am a huge Noah Gray fan, have been for a couple years now. And then to go and get someone like Jared Wiley, like who's been so fun to watch. He's my like probably the guy I'm most interested in seeing what happens with. I've just been really focused on him during camp, and I think he's got a lot of the same characteristics that Travis has. And then of course it's a bonus that he's able to work with Travis daily to kind of get that insight from him. So I think the tight end room is really strong. It's hard to say that I think the wide receiver room is great. We've seen a lot of really great clips. Obviously, bringing in Hollywood Brown was a huge, huge move. I think he's going to be really great. And then, of course, the addition of Xavier Worthy, both guys who can stretch the field vertically now, something we really lacked last year, right? We were kind of slicing and dicing our way down the field. We had drop issues. We we had communication issues, so route running issues. So obviously, no secret that our offense was struggled last year, but I think this year we went out to correct those things. We got Xavier Worthy, like I said. I think both he and Brown are going to make a huge impact. Rasheed Rice is only going to build on what he had last year, what he did last year. Depending on what that suspension looks like, I think it's going to be until 2025, depending on like what happens with all of the legal stuff that needs to go on. But I do think that Andy's wide receivers don't do 1,000-yard seasons, right? Like that's not how it goes when you're a rookie and Andy reads off this. You don't get very many looks. You don't get a ton of snaps. And I think we do credit some of that to the lack of the room as a whole, but he stepped up. And I've seen nothing but great things coming out of him from camp. I just think he's going to continue on the trajectory that he's on, and he's going to have a really big year. And then bringing back McCole Hardman, love McCole. When we brought him back, I was really surprised last year, but then he came up big and he knows the offense. And Andy's offense is so complex that you really need someone in there that understands how Andy's thinking and how Pat's thinking. And I think it's great to have a guy like McColl in your back pocket, especially when you consider what he can do for the return game as well. So I think there's still like the bottom half that I'm a little uncertain about. Like I love Justin Watson. I think for sure we see him make the team. I don't know what to make of Tony, and I don't know what to make of Sky Moore. I don't know where they're gonna fall this year. If they're gonna make the team, I know that they were running some running back snaps with Tony, so it'll be interesting to see how they use him. I actually am really high on Nico Remigio, so we'll see. He did great things last year before his injury, which was really unfortunate. So I know he's a guy who's willing to prove himself. He mentioned that in this presser last week, so I'm excited. I'm excited for the wide receiver room. Yeah. Sorry, I
Yeah,
ramble a
well,
lot.
No, that's what we're here for. But
Love it.
I've made it clear in the last few videos that I do not feel like Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney are locks to make the 53-man roster. I do think they need to prove it. But being that we're on the topic of talking about them, what do you need to see from them this weekend when they play the Jaguars on Saturday to make their case on why they deserve to be on the 53-man roster?
I need to see both of them. I need to see that both of them understand the offense. I need to see that they understand their position in the offense and that they understand what Pat expects from them in the offense. Because that too many times last year, and I don't have to, we could beat a dead horse with this, but there was communication issues between Sky and Mahomes where Sky wasn't in the right spot. He had to be helped by other wide receivers or other guys on the line who were like, no, you're supposed to be here. And I'm sorry, but going into your third year, like these are mistakes you can't make. You should know this now. You've been in these training. This is your third training camp, and to still see him even make some of these mistakes in camp, it's like, oh, brother, like we gotta knock that out. You gotta be able to show up in these bigger moments. And obviously, the drops are an issue. When Mahomes is scrambling back there and he's doing everything in his power to get you the ball, and then he finally gets it to you, and it's an amazing catch after he's being pressured, and you drop it, like what? We can't have that. And then, of course, I don't need to say lining up right, but has to see him line up right. But for Kadarius Toney, the biggest thing with me is availability. I mean, I think we saw him go down today. He had a back, something going on with his back. I'm not really sure. But I do feel like more times than not, he's struggling with some sort of an injury. And for me, you got to be reliable. The best type of ability is availability. That's an old quote that a lot of people use, but it's true. Like you have to be able to show up for your team, and he's just not consistent with it. So we know he's a gadget guy. We know he can move in space when he gets the ball. That's not something I'm looking for. I need to know that you're going to show up and you're going to be for this team and be on the team and play for the team and not play for yourself. I think
Yeah.
that's more important.
They need to work on getting open, lining up right, and catching the ball. And yeah, if they can do that, I think they can make their case. And if Tony stayed healthy, I talked to Lexi Osborne about this a few months ago, and we both agreed if Tony can stay healthy, he could be one of the best receivers in this league. He could be dynamic. It's his health, and sometimes he did drop the ball, but I really think the main thing is his health. He's so, for the most part, always unhealthy. He needs to fix that.
Yeah, absolutely. He's, we know his potential is so high. That's what's frustrating, right? It's like you see so much potential with him, and obviously the coaching staff does too. You're like, but we got to have you on the field in order for you to make something happen. Can't do that if you're always hurt. So
Right. Well, a few days ago, we had a report that uh, Creed Humphrey and Harrison Butker would be getting extensions. We now know that Harrison Butker got that extension. Uh, and I do think Creed Humphrey is going to get that extension here soon. But what do you think that extension looks like?
numbers wise,
Yeah.
I do think, I mean, if you're looking at centers in the league, he's definitely, with the absence of now Jason Kelsey, who's retired. Props to Jason Kelsey. He's one of the GOATs, one of the great ones. Um, but I do think we're looking at seeing Creed become the highest paid center in the league. And what's really tough, and I'm glad I'm not Brett Beach, because this is the tough stuff, is how do you pay Creed and keep Trey happy as well down the road? Because those two are sort of they're not a package deal, but they're definitely better as a set. And I don't know how I don't know how, especially with the contract that Butker just got. I don't know where the money's coming from to pay both. So I do think it'll be something a little more long term, probably at least 4 years. I'm not really a numbers girl, so I couldn't put a dollar amount on it, but I would look for him to be. I think the highest paid right now would be like 15 million a year, 16. Does that sound right for a center?
I had someone ask me that a few months ago on my show, and I said the same thing as you. I don't really know much about numbers either. I really don't.
Yeah. I think the highest paid center right now, I want to say if he gets 15 a year or 16 a year, he'll be right there. So I would look for him to get about
Yeah.
that.
I
I mean,
think
he's
he's
worth
worthy
it,
of
right?
getting the highest paid. Yeah, he's worthy of getting paid the highest paid center. He's that good. I think he's the best center in the league. I don't know if there's anybody
Absolutely.
better, you know. But how many receivers do you think make the roster, and who are they?
Mm, that's so hard. I don't know that they've ever kept seven.
They kept 7 last year, I think, right? 7 last year.
I thought we all thought they were going to keep. I'm trying to remember. We thought they were going to keep seven, and then I thought they were going to keep seven. Maybe they did. I don't know. Okay, so let's go from the top though. Okay, obviously Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, Rasheed Rice, Justin Watson. I feel like those are four very solid locks. Patrick likes Justin. They have great chemistry. He's good for two really great plays a game, and that's someone you need someone who's reliable. From there, I think they keep McCole Hardman. I don't think they bring him back if they weren't planning on keeping him. I also think because of his return game skills and because of they love using him in that jet sweep formation, and he knows the offense. He's a guy who not only knows the offense but knows how to work well with Pat and that line, and kind of knows what's expected from the team. So I think he's a lock. I think they're going to keep seven. I'm going to say it. I'm going to go on here on a limb saying it. Seven. And I think the other two are going to be Kadarius Toney and Nico Romeo.
I
I
agree.
don't think Sky. I don't think Sky makes
Yeah,
the team.
yeah. I mean, if he keeps doing how he's doing in training camp, Nico's gonna beat him out. Because from what I know, I think Nico's doing pretty good. I thought he had a nice snag, was maybe yesterday or the day before, something like that. All I know is Nico. He showed very good signs in the preseason last year before getting hurt, and he's a guy that has proven more than Sky Moore. So I think putting him as wide receiver 7 would make sense for sure.
He's definitely proven more with less too, right? Like he's not given the same amount of time that Sky's had with this team. He was hurt last year, so he wasn't able to really show what he had, or he did show what he had, and then he got hurt. So he's done more with less, and I just think his ceiling feels a lot higher than Sky Moore. Andy's really Andy's really loyal, but is a great quality. I'm a loyal friend, but I think sometimes to a fault because you almost can't keep giving. It's like we've seen this song and dance before. That's kind of how I feel with this Justin Ross thing. What are your thoughts on Justin Ross?
I think that he got on the roster last year, and I really don't think the Chiefs gave him a chance. I really just don't. I think we had all these drops last season, and they never really gave Richie James a shot, which I think he could have done good. They never let Justin Ross get in there. So to be honest, I don't think they really gave him a chance. I think he has potential because before he got hurt, he was, I believe, a projected first round pick, and then he got hurt. He was a UDFA. So, and to my knowledge, I think he's staying healthy. I think he's good on his health. So I think the Chiefs need to give him a shot. I'm not saying let him on the 53-man roster, but I think they need to give him some playing time here in training camp. And if he can show signs, I think it's worth having the conversation of him maybe making this 53-man roster. Because last year they didn't give him a chance.
Yeah, I feel like last year he had a couple plays mid-season and then got into that little bit of trouble, and they kind of pulled back a little bit. So I don't know. We'll see. I just don't see. I just think there's six or seven guys better than he is, or that again. Let's go back to availability. Unfortunately, that's that's a big factor, and he's healthy right now, and hopefully he can stay healthy. And I hate that he was on such a great path and then had those injuries and that sent him back. That's never anything you want to see. But I don't. I just can't. We've done this for like three training camps now, where we're like Justin Ross, and then like I just can't get my hopes up again. I think.
Yeah, yeah, he's got to prove it. Last year, we were all hyping about the guy, and this year he's got to prove it. A lot of people got to prove it. But what made you want to start your podcast, and what is some advice you could give to some people that want to start a show or podcast of themselves, whether that's football or anything else?
Great question. So a couple years ago, so it's been about 3 years now that I've been doing this, and I born and raised in Kansas City. If you start me talking about Chiefs football, you won't get me to stop. And so I think it kind of stemmed from that. I was like, I just want a place where I can go and talk with like-minded people like myself that just want to word vomit Chiefs football information, and that's totally me. And Country and Chuck and Boogie, we all found each other on Twitter, and that's kind of how that started. And I haven't really, I, I can't show or speak about my admiration and how grateful I am for that crew because they springboarded me into the Arrowhead Addicts and the How About Those Chiefs and the Spoken and all these other shows that I've been on would not have been possible if I didn't start somewhere and start with them. And I am just very grateful for that. And they're just so easygoing and so nice to talk to. And it made me feel really fun and comfortable about talking about football. As a woman, it's really tough. I'm not to play the woman card, but it can be discouraging at times because you kind of already have one point against you when you try to talk about football because it's a man's world, I guess, in a sense, because they play the game. So I totally get it, but they've never that was such a great platform for me as a woman to speak about my viewpoint, being a woman and being a Chiefs fan in this game. So I'm really grateful for that. The advice I would give is don't get discouraged. There's a lot of times, especially on social media, where someone can make you feel like you don't know what you're talking about or that you're not capable of having your own show, or maybe you feel like there's too many content creators in the space that you're in. But there's room for everybody. Everyone has a different twist and a different spin that they put on it, and everyone has their own views and their own thoughts on a player and a game and a play. And I just think that you got to stay true to yourself and don't get discouraged. It's fun. We're all just having fun being fans. And as a Chiefs fan, this is the most fun time to be in. So if you want to do it, do it. Don't look back and start small and be committed. Like, if you're ready to do it, don't be like, well, I'm waiting for this or I'm waiting for that. Like, just go for it. Don't get in your head. Uh, I'm guilty of getting in my own head at times, but it's really all just supposed to be fun. We're all just having fun. So
We're all just having fun. Yeah, that's some great advice for anybody, whether you're trying to start a football channel or just a channel in general. That's some great advice. But who's your favorite Chiefs player of all time?
this is such an okay. So it's hard to not say Patrick Mahomes because of everything he's done for the Chiefs. Like, let's just be honest. But I'm a huge Derek Thomas fan. When I was a kid, many, 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 many years ago, I actually got to meet Derek Thomas, which was really it's one of my fondest memories as a child. And I just loved what he did for the city. And I remember him being such a huge impact for a team that didn't have a ton of the 90s football, 90s Chiefs team was great. And we had a lot of pros and positive times, but overall, it was a little heartbreaking, right? But he was such a bright spot in it, and he did a lot for the community. And he was, it was Derek Thomas. He's incredible, incredible defensive end. So I'm a big Derek Thomas fan. Last year, winning Super Bowl 58, I rocked my Derek Thomas jersey all season long. I was like, this is it, 58 for 58. I can't wear anything other than this Derek Thomas jersey. I'm very superstitious, as most sports fans are. And so I did, and it paid off, and we got 58 for 58. So what a time. Who's
Yeah,
yours? Tell
absolutely.
me, who's yours?
Mine. You know what? I love Derek Thomas. I really do. I just got one of his trading cards that came in the mail yesterday. So I love Derek
Nice.
Thomas. But I didn't get to see him play, and I think that's why I picked Patrick Mahomes over Derek Thomas. Just because I didn't get to see him play. If I saw him play, it might be different. But being that I have seen Patrick Mahomes play and didn't get to see Derek Thomas play, I got to go Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, that's totally understandable. And honestly, I think for me, it's a nostalgia thing because I grew up with him, but Patrick Mahomes isn't easy. It's like, that's got to be the guy. He saved Chiefs Kingdom.
He did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for the last question here, What is your game prediction for Saturday against the Jacksonville Jaguars?
This is a good question. Um, I don't ever look at preseason wins and losses. I feel like that's always like, I can't believe we lost, but like, didn't we lose 2 games last year during the preseason?
Something
I
like
don't
that.
remember. Anyway, preseason games, wins and losses don't matter. It's all about practicing and getting the team out there and getting that cohesiveness going. But I know Andy came out today and said that the starters were going to go the whole first quarter. I don't necessarily trust that. I think we see the starters maybe the first couple series, maybe more than the first one. But honestly, I think if things are clicking after that first drive, you see Mahomes and Kelsey for sure get pulled. And then we see Carson Wentz go and get some work with the ones. So Brown, Rasheed Rice, Xavier Worthy. I think we see him get some work with them. And then I think slowly you kind of start to see the ones fade out and then the two start to fade in. And it progressively work its way down the depth chart as the game progresses. Um, I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say that we're going to win. I think I'm never gonna choose us to lose. Well, yeah. And let's see, let's go with like 28-21. That feels right. I think we
That seems
see
about
yeah, I think we see all 4 QBs. So like I said, Carson Wentz pretty early on. I'm not even sure with how much experience Carson Wentz has, how much we see of him. Um, I would say at least by the third quarter, we're seeing Oladu, o, Ola,
Oladipo,
Chris,
Olajudikin. There's
Oladuke,
many ways. There's many ways to say it. I say Oladikin.
Oladikin. Oh, yeah, you know what I'm talking about though. Chris Oladuke or Oladikin.
Olajukin.
I don't know.
Olajukin. I think that's it. Yeah, something like that.
Is that it? Okay. But yeah, I think we see him for sure after the half. And on the defensive side of the ball, I think you see a similar story. So I think we see the ones go out that first quarter. I don't think you see much from Chris Jones, especially since he's had a couple not serious injuries, but just a few tweaks this week. I know he was out, I think Monday and Tuesday. Um, and then yeah, I think the cornerback position is something that's really going to be important to watch with the since we don't have Snead anymore. Heartbreak. That's going to be a position to watch. We know McDuffie's that solidified QB or CB1, but who's going to step up? I mean, Jalen Watson, him being back is huge. I love that. But is it going to be Josh Williams? Is it going to be Najee Johnson? Is it going to be who? I mean, Echo Boydo. I feel like he had a really strong preseason last year, so that'll be
Nick
interesting to watch.
Jones.
Nick Jones, yeah, yeah. I think that'll be an interesting match. I think the safety and the cornerback position is going to be the one that I'm probably most focused on, and then of course I really want to look at Jared Wiley. I'm really high on him.
Yeah. Well, before we get out of here, I think you had a few questions for me. So, any questions for me before we get out of here?
Yes, I want to know how you became a Chiefs fan. I want to know where that came from.
Yeah. So, yeah, I live in Michigan, far away from Kansas City. But in 2018, uh, the Chiefs played one of the most historical games in NFL history against the Rams. I don't think they were the Los Angeles Rams yet. Were they St. Louis or Los Angeles?
And they're still St. Louis.
Yeah. Either way, they played the Rams, and we smoked them. Oh no, but we did smoke them, but we lost. And Tyreek Hill went crazy. And that was just a crazy game. Even though they lost, I loved how they played, and been with them ever since. It's been great.
Yeah, what a time to be alive. I will say that as a fan who rode the struggle bus for a really long time, to be in this, don't take this time for granted because it's so spectacular what they're doing, and if they can pull off this three-peat, I mean, wow.
Yeah.
Um, I also wanted to ask you, as a fellow content creator, how you got started with your channel and what made you make the leap.
Yeah. Well, previously, a few times I have tried YouTube, and it really never worked. Not so because I got discouraged, but because I lost my passwords and stuff to YouTube, so I got locked out. So after the Chiefs beat the Eagles in Super Bowl 57, I really just wanted to start this up, and I made sure everything was good and it couldn't go wrong. Had passwords written down, everything was just ready to go. And a couple days after they won the Super Bowl against the Eagles, we started. We've been going for like a year and a half, and almost at 10,000 subscribers. It's been going great.
That's incredible. 10,000 subscribers?
Almost about 500 away.
Congratulations. See, so don't get discouraged because look, you stuck with it and look at where you're at and who knows where you're going to go. You're just
Right.
up. And the fact that you've had Nazi Johnson on, and that's probably the first of many Chiefs players I'm sure that you will interview. Let me ask you this. Have you been to a game?
I haven't, but I'm trying my best to try to get one to try and get to one this season.
Yeah. You should definitely, if you ever get the opportunity, I know you probably will jump as soon as you do, but Arrowhead is just a very, very special place.
Yeah,
Very special.
you can hear it from the TV, and I hear they got some great barbecue, so it'll be a great time down there when I do make it down there. But I want to thank you for making the time to hop on the show. We finished right in time. It's 7:30 here, 6:30 there. So thanks for making the time to hop on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Guys, if you're watching, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Let's get Bryce to 10,000 subscribers. Guys, we're so close. We're so close. You're phenomenal. Thank you for having me on. The questions were great. This has been so much fun. Go Chiefs.
Thank you so much, and go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.